And today I'm here to just have a quick chat with you about tea tree essential oil, or Melaleuca alternifolia. So we're going to talk about the safety of essential oils, tea tree essential oil in general. We're also going to talk about using it with different animals and a little bit on humans. And then we're also going to discuss some really great alternatives depending on what you need and which animal you're working with and how big they are, and so on and so forth. First of all, we've all heard that essential oil, tea tree specifically, should not be used with dogs or cats. Okay, I've heard this so many times. And the fact of the matter is you probably should be making your decisions based on some information that you gain. So I want to talk about a study that was published in 2014 by the Journal of American Veterinary Medical Association, and they looked at 443 cases between 2002 and 2012 that occurred in the United States and Canada for toxic exposures to tea tree essential oil with dogs and cats. Okay, so you've got dogs and cats in two different very large countries, and there were 443 toxic cases reported. So that's just a little over 44 cases per year. And it's important to note, just in the US alone, about 70 to 80 million dogs are owned, and between 75 and 94 million cats are owned just in the US. So we're looking at a massive number of pets that are owned and could potentially have been reported, and only 443 cases over that period of time. Now, obviously not everybody uses essential oils, but an awful lot of people do, and tea tree is one of those essential oils that are often used by unknowing people. I was one of them, actually, many, many years ago with my little cat, who is doing great. She's still alive. She lived through it. We'll talk about that too. I want to just mention here that the brands of the essential oils weren't mentioned in the study. And at this point, we all know that quality essential oils are vital to purchase. So you should not be purchasing essential oils from small companies who buy bulk essential oils and then relabel them under their own brand. Please don't do that. There is no way to track the quality of the essential oil, and I'm going to say it's 95% or higher likely that they're adulterated, and many of these adulterants can be what causes problems in people who use essential oils. So just beware of that. It's good to choose essential oils from very reputable companies who do tests and know, or better yet, own the farms where they distill their essential oils from. And we can talk a little bit about those. I purchase from about 5 different companies only. There are probably others I would purchase from, but I like my 5 and I can share those with you in a few moments. So stay tuned. So I want to just mention that the amount of essential oil, tea tree, is specifically that cause the toxicity is dose dependent. And that's what the study found. So in other words, the larger the dose of the essential oil, or the larger the amount of the essential oil was used, and the smaller the animal, the higher and more severe the toxicity levels were. So this is a couple of examples that came out of the study. So you might have one little small dog was given about 0.4 milliliters. So that is roughly 4 to 5 drops. It's not very much. And it was given this in an IV line. So they actually put the tea tree essential oil directly into the bloodstream. And of course, that cat is not going to make it. All right. Another couple of dogs were reported with applications that actually resulted in death from the essential oil. That was one of the ones that was given it in an IV. The other was a little dog that was given a little less than 2 full bottles. These are 15 milliliter bottles, about this normal size, that people buy topically for 3 days straight. So think about that for a moment. That is a massive 3 of these. Or 2 of these rather, I'm sorry, that given topically over 3 days straight, that's a lot of essential oil, even for a large human being. You wouldn't want to use that much. We literally use small, tiny amounts. None of the cats that were reported died in this study. And there were no reports of toxicity by diffusion. So in other words, inhaling in the air. So these are all important facts when you start deciding, whether or not to use tea tree essential oil around your animals. So let's think about the symptoms of toxicity of tea tree essential oil in your cats and dogs. They can include depression, lethargy, just kind of laying around, listlessness, sleepiness, extreme sleepiness, appearing subdued, weakness, hind limb weakness, ataxia, which is kind of wobbling around, muscle tremors, and once in a while, even coma or collapse. Rashes, dermatitis may also present. Now, I want to mention here that especially in cats, people who use the flea medications that are supposed to be used with dogs, on cats, these cats often will exhibit these same toxic reactions. So just be aware of that too. But these are like general toxic reactions for tea tree essential oil. These symptoms can develop within 2 to 12 hours, and they can last up to 3 days. That's kind of dangerous, and it's kind of scary if you're dealing with that with your animals, right? If you think that you have an animal who's been exposed to too much tea tree essential oil, topically especially, just wash them with some mild dish soap and rinse them really, really well. And then if you think they may have ingested it, please get them to a veterinarian very, very quickly. You can give them activated charcoal if necessary. So now let's talk about tea tree essential oil toxicity in human beings for a moment. So in 1 year, in 2003, the American Association of Poison Control Centers recorded 787 exposures to tea tree in humans. All right. So that's quite a few exposures of tea tree. And 518 of these were in humans less than 6 years of age, and 57 in those 6 to 19 years of age. If you think about this, if you compare the numbers of the human toxic reported cases in 1 year as compared to the 10 years of reported dog and cat cases, we can kind of say that tea tree essential oil might be worse for humans than for cats and dogs, right? Just saying. But the thing is tea tree should not be feared and avoided at all costs. There are times when you might want to use it. Let's go ahead and just talk about the animals now, which animals can be exposed to tea tree essential oil and when you might want to do that. Again, let's go back to tea tree uses and benefits. It's a very strong essential oil. You would probably want to use tea tree only if you needed to, and that would be in the cases of bacterial infection or fungal infection, fighting off different illnesses, boosting the immune system, things like that. Tea tree is often found in different diffuser blends, and diffusion is fine. There were no reported cases of toxicity with diffusion. I know based on my own experience using essential oils for over 20 years and being certified as an animal aromatherapy specialist that I diffuse tea tree around my animals occasionally and nothing ever happens. Let's go ahead and just discuss now the different animals. So I suggest for cats and dogs, cats especially, there's really no reason to use tea tree essential oil topically. Definitely do not have them ingest the essential oil. I know some people believe that essential oil ingestion via the mouth is okay in some cases with some essential oils. Personally, please don't have your animals ingest essential oils unless you're working with somebody who's trained, because a lot could go wrong, right? I mean, a lot could go wrong. You can diffuse tea tree essential oil. And what I would suggest is if you're going to diffuse around your dogs and cats, be sure that the window's open or that there's some ventilation and that the animal can move freely and get away from it. All right, let's talk about for horses and other larger mammals like goats and animals like that. You can use tea tree essential oil topically directly on the area of concern. I suggest diluting it. You never want to use undiluted tea tree essential oil on areas. Tea tree essential oil diluted, and I would say start at 10% and then maybe go up from there. And this is for acute conditions like wounds or scrapes or itchy skin, And you can mix tea tree essential oil beautifully with other essential oils that are really helpful for skin too. And that would be like lavender and frankincense and helichrysum. Geranium is another really good one. Tea tree essential oil used topically on hooves might be helpful for some conditions. I think if you have a homestead or a farm, you really do need tea tree essential oil around. It's wonderful for ringworm, by the way, too. Now let's talk birds and poultry. You would think that essential oils would be contraindicated for your birds, but the fact of the matter is that many birds do really well with essential oils, and that would include your chickens. Okay, chickens actually generally do pretty well with your diffused essential oils, and also spritzed in the chicken coop. It can be really helpful, and then used in ointments for different conditions. I really love tea tree essential oil for my chickens personally. Now, if you've got little tiny birds like parakeets or things like that, you want to be careful. Obviously, if you're diffusing, you don't want to diffuse for hours on end. Be sure to diffuse for just a few minutes at a time. And again, if you've got a little bird in the room, I would probably move that bird to another room. Just me. There you go. Is tea tree essential oil toxic? Yeah, if you want to overdose on it, or if you want to give it to your cats in inappropriate ways, sure. But otherwise, it's probably okay if you are using it appropriately. However, I also want to just share here. I've got my oils here. I've got a little bit of tea tree here. I want to share that there are some other options to tea tree essential oil, and those would include lavender. Lavender is really helpful in many cases, and lavender is extremely safe for most animals, including cats. Cedarwood, and this would be the cedarwood that's Juniperus virginiana. There are several other cedar woods like Cedrus deodora and Cedrus atlantica. I stay away from those with animals. I don't think they're as safe as this one. And this is the Juniperus virginiana. This is native to the United States. It's really wonderful for flea and tick control, taking care of different needs that are similar to tea tree. Another one is geranium. I love geranium for animals. It's very safe. It's, you can put a little dot on the nape of your dog's neck and the base of his tail, and that helps repel ticks and fleas. You could even combine some cedar wood and some bourbon, and so this is bourbon geranium, but regular geranium, it's Pelargonium graveolens, and that makes a wonderful repellent that's really helpful for your animals. You can even do like a 1% dilution, maybe even a 2% in a spray bottle and mist it on your cats, keeping it away from their eyes, or your dogs, and then just kind of smooth it in. These essential oils are wonderful for repellents and things like that. I think that's all I have for you today. I do want to say one more thing. Do not use tea tree essential oil neat on your skin. It's not a good idea. Some people react to it terribly. And I would also say don't use it neat ever on your animals either. So that's a little bit of food for thought on tea tree essential oil. I am not recommending that you use it. I think you should do your due diligence and do your research. But what I am saying is that perhaps it's not as toxic as we have been led to believe, and especially with wise use. Years and years ago, I adopted and saved a little cat from the Animal Foundation. And this is prior to my having any knowledge about essential oils. I had just barely started using them and was told by a distributor, go for it, use them on everything, right? And so I thought it was okay because thought I was talking to an expert. But my little cat had a little rash, a little hot spot on her skin. And I didn't know if it was ringworm or not. And I kind of freaked out a little bit. And I actually used tea tree essential oil neat on that little hot spot. Well, it ended up going away and there was no harm done to her. She was just fine. And I just didn't know what I didn't know, right? She was probably even licking it. Who knows? But nothing happened to her, luckily. And I think this goes right back to ignorance is not always bliss. You really need to know what you're doing with essential oils. When I got into herbalism many years ago and started studying medicinal plants very seriously, I loved them and I realized just how great they were. And then I kind of had left the essential oil scene at that point because I didn't like what I was being told by some of the distributors out there. And didn't sit true to me. Like, yes, you can use essential oils neat all over your body. Yeah, I don't think so. So after I got into herbalism and started studying herbalism and did that for, gosh, a long time, probably over 10 years, definitely over 10 years, I decided to go into the essential oils and study the essential oils, because it dawned on me that essential oils are simply another herbal extract, right? But they're different because there are only certain plant constituents that are extracted, and they're the ones that can be a little dangerous at times. So you need to know what to do with them. Anyhow, I fell in love with the essential oils like I did with the herbs, and I studied, and I'm now a professional level certified aromatherapist with NAHA, which is federal, and AIA, which is international. And I do love my herbs and my essential oils, and that is all we use in our home for humans and animals. So there you go. Is tea tree essential oil safe? Do your research. Check out what I say and what other people say. Look at the studies and analyze those research studies and ask yourself, are they really telling the whole truth about everything? And then make your decision. Whatever you do, I say err on the side of caution. All right, I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead. I just want to mention I am not a medical doctor or a veterinarian. I just am an herbalist and an aromatherapist. So I do know about herbs and essential oils. I hope you will subscribe. I appreciate you being here, and please share this video if you feel it would be good for others to know. All right, thanks a lot. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.